When you think of mascot horror games, you might think of Slender Man, Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine, or even Baldy. But I actually think there's one mascot horror game that had so much potential despite never really getting the chance to. And that game is Garden of Tattletail. The game is Tattletail, but you can put the pitchforks down, it's okay. Tattletail is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated and most underappreciated mascot horror games since, like Slender Man, this game was extremely popular and yet the game itself was never torn apart and dissected like, say, Five Nights at Freddy's was. Well, in this video, I'll be changing that and explaining everything you need to know about Tattletail while dissecting the game's code and explaining how everything works. So let's not waste any more time, let's get into the Wait, what? What do you mean we hit 60,000 subscribers? Holy shit. Guys, thank you so much for 60,000 subscribers. I want to get to 100k by the end of the year, and I'll be personally thanking every subscriber once I hit it. But let's actually get into the video now. So to start this video, let's go over the basics of this game for those who have no idea what this game is about. In this game, you play as a young child around Christmas, specifically 5 days before Christmas, and each night, you and your early Christmas present that you have unwrapped because you're a naughty boy, Tattletail, a Furby-style doll, have to complete certain objectives while dealing with Mama Tattletail. And that's pretty much the entire game. Now, for the sake of the story and not spoiling the gameplay itself, as well as it being way too complicated to explain without making this a 2-hour video, I'm just going to explain the layout of the house in this section and not the actual game itself before moving on to the actual characters and ending the video with explaining the guides for the main 2 endings of the game. So starting with the house, the first room that you will encounter is your bedroom, which is where you start and end your nights. View this room as your spawn room. The next room is the front hallway, which connects most of the rooms in the house. Mum's bedroom is next, and this contains a few dangers that I will outline later. The sitting room, which it should just be called the living room, I don't know why it's called that, is where you encounter the hairbrush and where the Christmas tree is, which will be important later. The kitchen and dining room are combined and contain the refrigerator, which you need to feed Tattletail. The gardens are outside, and there are 2 of these, one out the front door and one out the back door. In the front garden, there's a doghouse and a set of exterior doors that lead into the basement, which can be opened at any time. The back garden contains some bushes and the garage, which is used in a quest. The last room is the basement, which is the largest room in the house and contains many rooms and many plot points which revolve around the basement. Now this house is actually from a Unity asset store and it's called Brian's house. And it's possible that this house might be based on Franklin's house from GTA 5, but I digress, this is just useful information. That's pretty much all you need to know about the house itself. Now let's get into the more interesting parts of this game. Starting with... So now we get to the main objective and main character throughout the game. The problem child, you could say. Now, despite the fact that Tattletail is on your person for like 95% of the game and seems to have a very simple mechanic, he actually has a bit more to his AI than first meets the eye. So, let's go over it. Tattletail obviously has different variations, but the one that you hold is pretty consistent, usually being the purple one. The mechanics are pretty simple. Throughout the missions, he will react to certain objectives that the player needs to complete. All the while, he has 3 stats that you need to take care of. These are the feed bar, the groom bar, and the battery bar. Each of these stats and their respective meters are located in the top left of your screen, and these will go down over time. When your feed bar goes down low enough, Tattletail will say, "Give me a treat," until you feed him. You can feed him using the refrigerator in the kitchen. When the groom bar goes down, Tattletail will say, "Brush me," until you brush him. The hairbrush is located in the sitting room, just call it a fucking living room. Last, the battery bar will cause Tattletail to say, "Uh-oh," when it gets low enough, which is lower than normal, meaning you have to not charge him at all to get this to happen. Tattletail speaking for any side objective causes noise, which alerts Mama and can make her spawn or make her find you. Tattletail will also get scared if your flashlight isn't on. Once again, making noise. The flashlight makes noise too, and this makes it quite hard to avoid Mama sometimes. Something slightly interesting is the various animations and states that he can actually be in. These are blink, adjust ears, eat, look around suspicious, look around scared, talk, talk scared, demon, and scream. Most of these are simply to immerse the player and make Tattletail actually move, but the talk and scream ones usually revolve around certain events such as tasks and encountering Mama. Also, the look around scared and suspicious can be used to determine if Mama is near you. Overall, Tattletail is a little shit, and he'll probably get you killed at least once or twice. And speaking of getting killed, alright, now let's get onto the main threat of the game, Mama Tattletail. Being the main antagonist, you would expect her AI to be the most complicated. However, truth be told, she is nowhere near as complicated as you think she is. In fact, most of her appearances in this game are scripted, activated by certain events throughout the game. However, the way she works is quite simple, at least compared to others. When Mama first spawns in, she doesn't spawn at a random location and instead picks a random starting position which I will call a node. Nodes are basically invisible map trackers that Mama uses to navigate around the house. There are two ways that Mama can spawn in. The first is a scripted event as I highlighted before. The second has to do with the number one thing you have working against you, noise. If you make too much noise, she has a chance to appear. The more noise you make, the more likely she is to appear. The number one thing that will make her spawn is having not taken care of Tattletail and him making a lot of noise because you haven't brushed him, charged him, or fed him. This guy getting hungry can and will get you killed. Once Mama has actually spawned in, a couple of things will happen. Once she spawns in, she will begin to look for the player, mainly by tracing noise. Most of the time, she will spawn in a room close to you, but not in the same room since you're most likely going to die if you're trapped. Mama has two main ways of tracking the player. The first is obviously noise, which will lock her more onto your position the closer you are and the more noise you make. Imagine that Mama has a kill meter that goes up. Every time that you make noise, Mama's kill meter goes up. The more noise you make, the faster this meter goes up, and once it's full, you obviously die. Mama can also try teleporting to a closer node if you make too much noise. This also leads into the second way that Mama tracks the player, which is by obviously just straight up seeing the player. She is not blind. Mama can see the player if they are running and obviously if they are in line of sight. Looking at Mama also makes her meter go up faster, similar to looking at Slender Man in Slender in the 8 Pages. And yes, I've seen the comments, if this video gets 10,000 likes, I'll make a Slender the Arrival AI breakdown. Anyways, Mama will also kill your flashlight when she first spawns in and when she has line of sight of the player, and will kill you if you turn your flashlight on while she still has line of sight of you, since this causes her meter to rise up stupidly fast. The idea of Mama is that she will spawn in at a certain amount of progress on her meter, making noise or being in line of sight will make this meter rise. She will also teleport to a closer node if you make too much noise and are not in line of sight. If you are within line of sight and are looking directly at her and you have your flashlight on, this meter will rise super quickly and you will die in like 2 seconds. However, if you stay quiet, get out of line of sight, and you keep your flashlight off in the main area that Mama is, the meter will slowly go down until she despawns, or will despawn once you've completed a mission objective. Mama can also kill you if you answer the phone or knock on Mum's door, which is interesting because there's various ways that you can die to Mama while looking at Mum's room. Knocking on Mum's door while being pursued by Mama Tattletail will trigger Mama's jump scare. However, if the protagonist attempts to knock on Mum's door during the beginning of the third hide and seek round, the door will actually open and Mama can be seen inside. She will jump scare the player immediately afterwards. However, if the protagonist waits until the yellow baby talking Tattletail starts speaking before they open the door, they will be able to enter the room. Mama Tattletail will be seen for a split second, but then vanishes. 2 seconds after entering the room, Mama will jump scare the player. There is no way to prevent her jump scare upon entering Mum's room. Now, this behaviour can change depending on the quest and where you are in the house, but basically this is the main idea on how her AI works. If I went over every single little thing that she could possibly do, we would be here all day. And basically, this just means that you need to be quiet and feed the little shit. And with that, we have covered pretty much everything that you need to know about Tattletail. I want to apologise for the miscommunication and lack of uploads, as well as the fact that this video is so short. I've been a tad all over the place with ideas, but I want to give you guys the best content possible, so if it takes a while, then just know that I'm making sure it's great. Also, if there's any other games you want me to do AI breakdowns of, be sure to let me know, and don't forget to subscribe to help me get to 100k, where I'm personally thanking every single subscriber. But anyways, check out this Slender and the 8 Pages AI breakdown, since if you enjoyed this video, you'll surely like that one too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.